And as a thank you to all my viewers and subscribers, Massdamper is now offering a 10% discount. If you want to get cool shirts like this one, or other mini four-wheel drive swag like stickers for your car, or stickers for your toolboxes, you can get them from massdamper.jp. Don't forget to use the discount code ZenBluster on checkout. There are also links in the video description down below, and check them out. They actually have some pretty neat stuff. Thank you again, and now on with the show.
Hey guys, it's Jan, also known as ZenBluster, and today we're taking a look at my high-speed Super 2 setup. And first of all, I'd like to thank Mad Tang for helping me acquire some of these parts. The first part he actually built he built me the high-speed tires, basically the 35mm tires that you can see here. They're probably built on two different parts, where there's a Super X wide offset wheels with the white arch tires, the hard tires, and I don't know where he got the blue tires, but I'll ask him and I'll put the part numbers down below over here so everybody could see. And yeah, he built these for me, 35mm tires, and they're quite nice. They also come with sponge to make them a little bit lighter, and yeah, they're pretty good. They're quite straight. Let me just show you real quick how straight they are. There you go. Okay. And he also helped me get the 3.5 to 1 gear ratio that's bored out with the AO830 installed in it later. So I'll show you guys what that looks like later. So first of all, I would continue talking about the body. So the body is the Astute. Little known fact to some people, the Astute body is actually one of the lighter bodies, and if you're going to build like a high-speed car, this is one of the better bodies that you could use, because it's just lighter than most of the other bodies, just normally cut. And if you cut it down like I did a little bit more, then yeah, it's going to get even lighter like this. So I chose the Astute. This is 2 layers of translucent blue with anodized aluminum underneath that, and the canopy was taped off and painted in smoke. And then let's see, this is actually a very old Type 0 battery lock, or I think it's either like Super 1, but I don't recall ever having to get a Super 1 that has a black what do you call it, latch. Alright, so let's get to the bumper. The bumpers are actually 4 3mm parts. I will list the part number here, and that actually built it on the mill. Let me take off these batteries so it's easier to see. So let's take a zoom in. All right, so as you can see, some of the plates are actually inset basically into another plate. This plate, I did the trimming. Basically I cut it, and then I ended up making it even using the Dremels and also the mill, just to make sure that they're all sitting in the same slot in terms of width. And I ended up doing a depth trim on this piece right here, and you can see this is about 1mm left in terms of thickness on this piece right here. That goes all the way from here to the other side. And let's move the light so it's easier to see. This is basically holding this piece up, and this is countersunk to catch that piece from the other side, and it's basically flipped backwards. In addition to that, the piece on the back was also shortened so that it's a little bit closer to the rear tire. And the one in the front does not have that same trim, but it's basically fairly normal in terms of the way that it was cut. These were both cut in the same way in terms of the depth. This one is also depth cut into 1mm left in terms of thickness as well. And let's go talk about the rollers. The rollers are 3 pairs of the AO830s right here on these positions. Let me get a pointer. AO830s right here and over here as well. All of these are all AO830s. I've removed the what do you call it, the seal. You remove the seal so that it's a lot smoother. These bearings right here are AO 620s. There's two, one over here, one over here, and there's four more for the axles. One, two, three, four. So you're gonna need about 3 packs of AO 620s to build this car. This is just a broken piece of what do you call it? A cut up piece of the 1319 popsicle, and I use that just as a latch to hold the front gear cover down, so that it helps prevent the the gear cover from popping up sometimes with the extra torque that this car can give you. Let's take a look at the transmission real quick. I want to go over it. There's some changes that I do that I'm not sure everybody else does. So we'll first talk about the propeller shaft. Okay, so the propeller shaft is actually a modified Super X shaft. I removed the blue gears from the Super X shaft and then switched the green gears onto this shaft, and I also shortened the shaft so that it actually fits on the Super 2 chassis, because otherwise it would be too long. You have to trim it to the right length so that it doesn't bind on this side of the gears and the transmission as well. So that's how it looks like, guys. No, that's right, this is being locked by the release, so that's pretty good. The What that does is that it what I do is that the a little bit of a little bit of the shaft is actually poking through the gear on the other side. It's a little bit hard to see with the angle because my lighting is coming from this side. A little bit of the shaft is actually poking through on this side and on the other side as well. What that does is that it helps prevent the what do you call it, the gears from sliding outwards on both ends. Think of it as basically like using a pierced wheel. You have a little bit more surface area to grab the gear, and then the gear is less likely to slide out that way. And then what I do is I use two of these black carbon reinforced ground gears, supported by a purple pinion on this side. On this side, you don't really need to support it. And then there's a 1.5 millimeter spacer right there, and then there's the spur gear, basically for the 3.5 to 1 gear ratio. Let's go back to the gear. This is the modified 3.5 to 1 gear. I got this from Matang as well. It looks like it needs to be cleaned again. Anyway, it's bored out so that you can fit the 830 gear in there, and that allows it to spin quite nicely. This one needs to be cleaned again, so that's one of the things that you need to do for high-speed cars. Basically, you need to regulate and also clean it every once in a while to maximize its performance. Yeah, it's I ordered this from Madtang, and it's still been good for me. I've had it for about over a year now, and it's still pretty solid. And let's go back to here as well. I use the translucent blue gear cover so that in case there's like a problem with the gears, you can see it. It's just for convenience and for troubleshooting too. When you put that gear cover on, you can see the gears, you can watch them turn basically, and you can pretty much see that there's no binding or no shaking or crackling or something like that on the transmission. And then this is the just an aluminum motor support, and that helps push the gear of the pinion, attached to the motor a little bit away from the counter, the counter gear right here. And what that does is that it eases some of the tension that the motor is placing on the counter gear once it's pressed up against it and turning, and that helps smoothen the transmission. And as far as I know, that's it mostly. I use 30 millimeter cap screws on all four, basically, of the corners. Let me see if you can see that. Yep, all four of them are using cap screws. The all aluminum lock nuts, just to make sure it's a little bit lighter than it can be if you use steel lock nuts. They just make the whole build a little bit heavier than it needs to be. And that's about it as far as I can remember. And this build is going to be a little bit heavier than normal. There's a lot of 3mm carbon on it, so don't be surprised if it's like, oh no, it's not 60 grams or something like that, you know. But it's 80 grams, around 80 grams last time I measured it. Let's double check it so you guys could see. Here, let me move this a little bit. Let's move this up. And so we could see the weight of the car. This is without batteries right here, guys. There you go. It's 82.05 grams for my Super 2 high-speed build. That's it, guys. This has been my overview of my high-speed Super 2 setup. If you would like to see more videos of high-speed cars, please like, subscribe, and share. And thanks for watching. Go race.
Are you gonna catch it? Nice. I don't want to catch it. Zen Blaster. Thank you. And grab your own car. Start line go. Grab the car, grab the car. Do I need to catch it? Good race, sir.